And we're almost at the end of season 2. We are up to episode 22, and that is Emasculata. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
Yes.
Emasculata.
So is this a big one in the legacy?
I think it's probably around the middle ground, given the way people talk about it. My introduction for this would pretty much be the same as what my introduction was for the Kalashari, quite frankly. Although this is one that I've always liked. I've always liked this episode for some reason. I'm sure as we talk about it, all the flaws will come spewing out. No, I've always liked this episode. It's like I said last time. It's kind of like Outbreak, but 45 minutes worth of television, and it's pretty action packed. It zips along pretty fast. It's directed by Rob Bowman, and you can see, certainly on the basis of this episode, why they gave him the movie. Regardless of what you think of the script, this episode is shot really, really well, I think. Just like an action movie. So.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the opening scene. Okay,
so we're out in Guatemala, and a doctor who's working on a biodiversity project is basically stumbling around the place looking for stuff. He comes across this boar with all these pus kind of moles all over it that are pulsating, which really is the first sign to back the hell away from it. But no, he goes digging, starts pressing the things, and it basically spits in his face. Squirts, I think is a better word. Squirts in his face. It's absolutely disgusting. And rather than that being something that tells him, no, enough's enough, he carries on digging, pulls something out. And then, a few moments later, we cut to later on in the day, a bunch of soldiers, Guatemalan soldiers, trekking through the woods, come across him, and he just looks a mess. He's dead, but his face looks half eaten away. He's done in. So,
yeah, pretty good opening. I like the ominous music that's all the way through the start of this. It's quite interesting. I just don't understand why the guy is there alone. Like no research assistants or co-workers or guides or anything. The guy's just wandering through the the forest himself. Metaphorical desert. The makeup for the pustules is awesome.
It is. It's just when I saw all that stuff, I thought, oh, this must be a Kim Manners episode, because he usually does all the disgusting stuff. But no, Rob Bowman. It is. It's icky. It's yucky. A word like puss springs to mind, which is never a good thing. Good stuff on the makeup job.
Oh yeah. And seeing it just splatter on somebody's face just makes you go, oh.
Especially when it hits the lip. It always hits the lip, doesn't it? It's like, I can kind of cope with the eye. I can't cope with when it hits the lip. You can almost feel it, and you want to wipe your mouth.
You know, like the pustules throbbing. So people tend to, like, when this happens, they seem to go close and open their mouth just that little bit too far, you know, and you're like, oh God, I know where this is going, and I don't want to see it.
Seriously makes me want to vomit. Okay, so we get past the opening titles and we're inside a prison. And this I don't know where they filmed this, or whether it's a set, or whether they've gone into actual prison, but this exact location will pop up in several more X-Files episodes. As different prisons, I might add. But yeah, they're in this prison, and this security guard passes a package to one of the inmates. The inmate opens it, and it looks like the leg off a wild pig or something.
Yeah.
Probably the same wild pig that scientist guy was faffing about with at the beginning. But yeah, it's
so what kind of screening process do they have in this prison?
Well, clearly this guy's been paid off. I think there's certainly a sense that everything isn't quite kosher in this prison to begin with, because the guy, he starts shouting back at the security guard, like, what is this crap you're trying to pull now? And so you kind of get the sense that maybe the guards there aren't fully on the level and could maybe be easily bribed by a pharmaceutical company who's willing to put a few thou in their bank account or whatever. But it does. It gets past security surprisingly well. But I'm just assuming payoffs are in order. So he opens it. It's a leg of lamb, whatever the hell it is, and it has these same kind of pulsating, whatever the hell you call them. And he gets squirted with it. A few hours later, people have kind of testing on him. They've got him all kind of locked in a plastic case. They're all wearing hazmat suits. And a bunch of other prison inmates go to clean out his cell. They've been put on clean-up duty, and they talk to each other, and they make reference to the fact that most of the prisoners have kind of been evacuated. Some of them have even died, and this might be the perfect opportunity to use the laundry chute.
Yeah, and these two guys, I thought they were just going to be throwaway characters. I didn't realise they were going to be through the full episode, so I wasn't paying too much attention. They just seemed a bit doofus-like at the start. They definitely got a little bit more fleshed out, a little bit more menacing later on, but just now they just seemed almost like comic relief.
What do you think of the pacing? Because we this intro...
This is one of these episodes that just constantly moving. It goes really fast. It doesn't wear out.
And even with the camera as well, it's not just the scenes that are moving. It doesn't zip from scene to scene, but Bowman keeps that camera moving, which I really like. Again, it just makes everything feel a bit more action orientated. So we go straight from there. We cut from them talking about the laundry chute to Mulder and Scully arriving, supposedly called in to investigate these escaped convicts, who are now on the run. A federal marshal gets there. This is the kind of douchebag cop of the week that we typically get. He arrives there like gangbusters, kind of chewing Mulder and Scully out. Basically, clearly doesn't want Mulder and Scully there, doesn't want the FBI there. As far as he's concerned, this is a case for the federal marshals. But Mulder and Scully kind of stand their ground. They do a lot of that in this episode, actually. Stand the ground, kind of Mulder goes with the federal marshals, tells Scully to stay behind and investigate what was going on with the cleanup, because they see a couple of hazmats. Mulder's like, check on them, find out what's going on with these guys. So,
I mean, the marshal is Dean Norris, who is in Breaking Bad, but most notably from our Brits on Flicks episode Total Recall.
Yes,
he is in there.
Yes, he was the guy whose wife was with. Was it? Oh no, that was
the kind of thing over his.
That's
face
the one.
yes,
that's it. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we jump from there, and this is where the episode can survive or demise, depending how you look at it, because they split up Mulder and Scully for the remainder.
Yes, absolutely.
But I will say this is but for me this would normally break an episode, but for me it seems as if it's a rather wise decision, because you have both of these agents tackling their strengths. You have a medical issue at the prison. Scully deals with
the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that they have them playing to the strengths. They give Scully something to do, basically. Usually when they split them up and it doesn't work, it's because the thing they give Scully to do just isn't quite as exciting as what they give Mulder to do. So you kind of feel like she's been shortchanged. Whereas here, she's in the thick of it. She's uncovering really the actual plot. She's the one who finds out exactly what is going on, whereas Mulder is just chasing down these guys. It's Scully who's feeding him all the information. So yeah, it's it's good. It's a good example of what to do with them when you split them up. So
Yes.
So the prisoners now on the run steal a mobile home, but not before, well, basically killing the guy whose home it is, leaving his wife and children kind of running after the mobile home, thinking that their husband, spouse and father has basically ditched them and run off.
But it's a nice choice to have them kill the guy because, like I said at the start, I felt as if they were comic relief. Now that they've killed this person, they're an instant threat, and they are somebody that you want to see the good guys stop.
Yeah.
So they put some weight behind that scene as well.
Absolutely, yeah. So Scully gets past Dr. Osborne, who tells her about the infection. So, yeah, this guy, Dr. Osborne, who I know most recently, actually, because from what I watched from John Carpenter's Starman. But this is a guy who I saw a lot during the 80s.
Untouchables?
Yes, he's in the Untouchables as well. I got a feeling he was in Flight of the Navigator. I could be wrong on that one, though.
Possibly, it's been a while.
But he was in a lot of those kind of 80s sci-fi type Spielbergian kind of movies. But yeah, so he pops up as this doctor, Dr. Osborne, who kind of tells Scully to mind her own business and get going, but she's having none of it. Once again, like I say, stands her ground, kind of talks him into coming out and chatting with her, and he tells her about the infection in the prison. So, yeah, apparently an infection has broken out. But so Scully phones Mulder, tells him that the men are in danger due to infection. But Mulder says that they're a danger regardless of the infection, having killed the man who owned the mobile home. So, yeah, and that's when we see the body and realise just how much of a threat these guys are.
Yeah, absolutely. They are deadly and they have a mullet. It's a double attack.
Yeah. Okay, so back to Scully, and we get a really pissy doctor. So Osborne is kind of the good cop, and now we get bad cop. This guy is a full-on douchebag, comes out, tells Scully in no uncertain terms that she's not wanted, get lost. But once again, she stands her ground, says, look, I'm an FBI agent, this is a federal matter, I belong here, plus, I'm a medical doctor, let me look at the bodies. And he kind of tries to dismiss her just by saying, you see what I want you to see, but basically he's got no control. So, she kind of walks off with them, kind of part of the group, but not. What do you think of Scully standing her ground there?
I like it. It's not the first or last instance we'll see this, but I really do like it when they refuse to buckle under the bureaucracy that seems to be there. I do find it strange that it never once asks for any kind of ID of any of the guys, and none of the people are wearing anything that says CDC on it or have identifying like name badges. Which it doesn't really matter, but you kind of think they would look for that kind of protocol.
Given that Scully is an FBI agent and a medical doctor, you'd think she'd be clued in on that. But I guess even someone as sharp as Scully can just jump to conclusions. So Paul, as we have now learned that he's called, basically one of the cons, one of the guys who's on the run. The one who's going to last throughout most of the episode, basically. He calls his ex and tells her that he's coming. And it was at this point I kind of got flashbacks to the first season episode, Lazarus, with you remember the guy who swaps bodies with a cop who's after him, and goes back to his ex, but his ex betrays him. And for some reason, when I watch this episode, I always get that one kind of in my mind. And I always think that this woman is going to double-cross him, which she kind of does, but not out of any mean-spiritedness. But yeah, so he tells her that he's coming.
And she's rather excited.
Yes, seems that way.
My escaped convict's coming home.
You're out! Yeah! Come and meet your child. Okay. So one of the inmates, not Paul, is infected. And he's on a services bathroom floor. So obviously while Paul was making the call, this dude was on a services bathroom floor. And a guy comes in, basically an attendant, service attendant, sees this dude lying on the floor, goes to help him, but Paul comes in and basically, for his trouble, whacks him across the face with a wrench, I think it is, or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. You know, no good deed goes unpunished. So Scully finds the bodies of the inmates down in basically near the furnace. Looks like they're about to get burnt or whatever. She starts to check them, but Dr. Osborne comes in and kind of pushes her away. It's like, what are you doing? Get away from him. And as he starts to cover the body back up, he gets pussed in the face. Yes. Right on the mouth, on the tongue, nose,
yeah, it's in his eyes, his nose.
Oh, it is everywhere. There's no chance this dude is not infected, put it that way.
Okay, I've got a major problem here. Okay, so Scully's like a trained medical person. She knows that these are, or she thinks that these are CDC. Yeah. These bodies are being burnt and they are like contained in heavy, thick plastic for a reason. And she just haphazardly, without anything, just bursts it open.
Yeah, she's hard as nails.
Yeah, and she kills this guy.
She does, basically. She's responsible for this guy's death.
Yeah, and for no reason other than curiosity. I mean, it could have been easily her. Of course, it's not going to be because she's a lead, but it could have been. So she opens this highly contagious dead body, then infects somebody else.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean,
she's not anybody's friend at this point.
Yeah, I'm a Scully fan, and even this was just like, what is she thinking?
Yeah. But to be quite honest, I turn that around and say it's this guy's fault for not keeping her in the loop to begin with. So they gave.
So he deserved to die, Brian. You're saying he deserves to die? I'm
saying they gave her no choice but to snoop around. She wants to know the truth. They're leaving her hanging outside the door. The only way she's going to get to know the truth is to investigate. She doesn't have a hazmat suit. She can't get one because they've not given her one. So, yeah, she's going to go snooping because she needs to know the truth. So
tell me this, Brian. They've got a furnace there, right? And they've got all these bodies piled up. Why do they just not get them in the furnace?
They're too busy bringing other bodies downstairs, trying to shift all the evidence down to the one room. I don't know. There's no defence.
Well, tell me this then. This guy's like one of the main doctors studying the people that are infected. Why is he just wandering about the furnace room?
Shall we move on to the next scene?
Yes, better.
Okay, so that next scene is, Mulder and the federal marshals arrive at the services like gangbusters once again. It's one of those quiet moments which is suddenly broken by speeding cars and everyone rushing on the scene, kind of pulling guns and pushing down doors and going freeze, Brian, freeze and stuff like that.
And in as many movies I've seen, I don't think I've ever seen anybody like arrive to a barn scene with like handguns hanging out the window with nobody. Did you notice that? Like all the cops, every cop car had somebody hanging out the window with a handgun, and I just thought that's crazy. It just looked odd.
These guys seriously think they're the Untouchables. They're just,
I think they're a bunch of Rambos.
Yeah, they do. They're trigger happy. We can tell that from the end, but
they're rocking out with their Glocks out.
They are rocking out with their Glocks out. I like that. Yeah. So they get there, and despite all their kind of Ramboing and their Glocking, they get there a bit late. The two men are gone, and well, one of them's died actually. I think one of them's died in the back. Did they say that one died?
No. He goes to the girlfriend's house.
Yes. Sorry, yeah. We'll get there when we get there, Brian.
Hang on, Brian. This is one of my favourite lines in the entire episode. Right? They find the guy in the bathrooms, and he's not dead, but he's unconscious. And I can't remember who says it, but somebody says, "Kid's got a lot of hair, probably softened the blow."
Yes, that was Mulder.
And I don't know if he's been funny or what, but I was like, that's brilliant.
No, it's because it was his response, wasn't it, to something somebody else said. I think it's Mulder's way of saying, look, these guys didn't go easy on this bloke. If it wasn't for the fact that he does have a lot of hair, he'd be dead right now. I think it's Mulder's way of saying, these guys mean business. We seriously need to get them. No dicking about. So, yeah. Mulder traces a call that was made from the telephone box just across the way, just as a chopper bursts onto the scene with hazmats who all jump out and whisk off with the attendant in a big plastic coffin, and disappear. So the federal marshal kind of quizzes Mulder on it. Mulder's like, nope, nothing to do with me, mate. They're both in the dark on that one. But Mulder's traced a call anyway. He thinks it will most likely be to the partner or ex-partner of one of the convicts. So that's where they go.
Mulder detecting, yet again?
Yes, Mulder detecting. Very good stuff. Mulder tends to do his best detective work when he's placed alongside generic cop of the week. Yes. Okay, so Paul arrives at his ex's house with a very ill-looking partner. His ex doesn't seem best pleased that he's dragged him there, but yeah, they get him inside the house. Scully, anything to say on that? It's just kind of it's a bridge scene, really, isn't it? It's just okay. So Scully finds the parcel that was sent to the inmate and traces the postage back to Pink Pharmaceuticals. Then she finds a cockroach in one of the wounds on the bodies.
Lovely.
So, yeah. Still gone back to the bodies, I see.
Yes.
She's got a trusty mask now, though. That's one thing.
It's one thing, but she's back digging about in these things, as if the thing bursting in the guy's face wasn't bad enough.
Yep.
She's down there herself looking for some pus action.
Pus action. Ooh, nice. Gotta say, the envelope, though, surely would have been the easiest piece of evidence to destroy. Surely that could have gone in the furnace straight away. I mean, that would have been the one thing to zone in on, wouldn't it? It's like, oh, is that the envelope? That's the envelope we sent, innit? With the pig's leg in. Chuck that in the furnace, straight off. Go on, straight off, boom, get it in there, cracking. Job's done. Okay. No, they've just left it lying around in the room full of evidence. Okay.
I think it had a tag on it that said evidence as well when they walked in.
With neon lights. Okay, so Paul's girlfriend gets pussed in the face before gangbusters arrive.
But she reacts how everybody else would react.
Yes.
She does. She's practically got a bar of soap in her mouth. She's
eating it. She's practically eating that soap.
Yeah.
But I love that reaction though. She gives a great reaction, and she's barely had time to clean her face when all the gangbusters come busting down the door and sticking guns in her face and stuff. So yeah. I like her performance throughout. Actually, the few little scenes she gets, she's really good. So
yeah, she's solid.
Okay, and again, just the pace, man. The pace of this episode, the direction from Bowman. Say what you want about the script on this. I think his direction hides a lot of deficiencies, it must be said. Just the way, like, he directs it like an action movie. He's looked at this script and he's thought, you know what, let's keep this moving, keep it action-oriented, just, keep it zipping along, pace keeps going. I love it. So Osborne goes to Scully, and he tells her about the dude who disappeared. So this is the dude at the beginning of the episode in the rainforest. Yep. One of the species that he found in the rainforest was F. Emasculata. And the company that he works for, i.e. Pink Pharmaceuticals, are interested in its medicinal applications. But Scully may be infected. So because the thing that pushed on him earlier on, Scully was stood right next to him, she could just have easily have been infected. So now she has to be tested. So, yeah, we go from there to... I mean, do you believe for a second Scully may be infected?
No.
I must confess, I'd forgotten how this episode completely played out. I remember the very ending, but I couldn't quite remember what went on with Scully. And I had a horrible, horrible feeling this was going to be one of those episodes where she not only gets infected at the halfway mark, but by the end of it, her research somehow manages to help someone come up with a cure, or she comes up with a cure. And I was
the
like,
Dodd-Cam effect.
Oh yeah, the Dodd-Cam effect. I was just like, no. It's too soon. It's too soon after Dodd-Cam to be doing that crap. So please do not go there. Thankfully they don't. So, but yeah, for a moment there, I was worried. But Mulder goes to Skinner's office, and this is a really nice scene. Really love this scene. Goes to Skinner's office, has a chat with Cancer Man, who's just, chilling out in Skinner's office, sat there, minding his own business.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. It's been, was it, blimey, it was one breath the last time we saw him? I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, blimey, good grief. Okay, so, yeah, Cancer Man just sat there, minding his own, Mulder wants to know why they weren't told the truth, and says that people have a right to know. Cancerman justifies himself by saying that panic only makes things worse. And this is kind of the theme of the episode, which from here on out, I will confess, if I have maybe one misgiving about it, it is that this theme is now, from here on out, hammered home. But again, like I say, because of the pacing of the episode, it doesn't feel too jarring. So I'm not that bothered. But I like this scene because Cancerman is kind of justified. He, in keeping things secret sometimes, stopping panic is a justification. But you know that he's using that as a justification to hide his lies, just the way he does things. Whereas in just a moment, we're going to get the exact same rationale from Scully, except from Scully, you get the sense that there is the motive is real, basically. So Cancerman and Scully give us the exact same motive. Yeah, it's all about where is this motive actually coming from. One of them is being used to hide even more lies, whereas one, on Scully's part, is a genuine desire to not create mass panic. And that...
And just that next scene that you're talking about, just there's a small moment that I really like, and it's when Mulder wrestles with the seatbelt.
Yeah, I wrote it. But Mulder goes to his car, has trouble with his seatbelt, which is just, it's a really nice moment. It's such... These are moments that directors, I don't know if it comes from the director or the actor, but when actor and director are working in simpatico with each other, when they're on the same page and magic starts to happen, you get nice little character moments like this, which don't need to be there. He could have just got in his car, the phone could have gone off, but it shows us that frustration. It's like Mulder's gone to his car, he could have just slammed the door, But he does that thing that we all do. We've all done it. We've all got into
It's shorthand. It's shorthand.
It is.
How many times have we wrestled against a safety device that will not buckle, but we somehow think that we're going to get superhuman strength and yank it out?
Yes. It's like inanimate objects that just are designed to, get our back up against the wall. But it's a really nice moment. It's funny, but it also, says a lot about what's going on with Mulder.
It puts you in his frame of mind.
Absolutely does.
Because we've all did that, and we've all done it through frustration and anger.
Yeah.
You know straight away. It's great.
Definitely. So Mulder gets the call from Scully, who tells him about the cover-up from Pink Pharmaceuticals. Then Mulder has a conversation with Scully that mirrors the one he just had with Cancer Man. And this is when I just wrote, some people search for the truth, some people hide behind it. So, so they're using that reasoning of not telling people, even though one person is doing it for the truth, another person is doing it to hide it.
And then we just move on to the test next, Brian, isn't it?
Yeah, so Osborne starts running a test on Scully, and this is my biggest kind of with the episode. He starts running this test, and he says it's going to take a few hours to kind of get results and stuff. Though, to be honest, it probably would have been faster to just wait for the onset of the symptoms, given how fast it seemed to take hold of Osborne. Like, literally, he got pussed in the face, ran off, and then the next scene when he came back, it's like, I'm infected.
Yeah.
Surely if Scully was infected, taking this test isn't going to make a blind bit of difference.
No, the first thing I thought about when I seen this was the testing the thing. You know, when they're all tied to the couch, Kurt Russell's got the hot bit of wire and he's putting it in the blood. It's immediate results. You don't know who's infected. It could be anybody. It's exciting and there is instant weight behind it. This one, they're only testing Scully, who we know that there's 10 minutes left in the episode. There's no way she's infected. And we have to wait 2.5 hours to find out this information that we know right now.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, right, okay.
It's literally just to give her something to do from this point on. When they literally could have said, at this point, you were stood there when I got pussed. At this point, if you were infected, we would have seen the onset of symptoms. Boom, there you go, she ain't infected. So this whole testing malarkey, not really buying it. It's there to waste a bit more time, give Scully something to do, look down a microscope for a bit. But there you go. So Mulder speaks to Elizabeth, who is Paul's ex, has a nice little scene with her in what looks like
Hannibal Lecter's cell.
Yes, I was going to say the dude from Skyfall, Silver, but Hannibal Lecter is equally just as relevant here. So she's in this plastic kind of Magneto cell, and basically Mulder's got to try and talk her into just being rational, really. Look, your ex is done for. You know it, I know it, but how many people are you going to let him take with him when he goes? Tell us where he's going, and she does. But I like that. I like the scene. I like the performance between her and Duchovny.
It's good.
Okay. So the federal marshal is just about to call down an invasion on Paul's possible location, but Mulder stops him and says at this point they need control, not panic. So this is an interesting turn because Mulder is actually now on.
He's learning.
Yeah, he's on side. He's not because of what Cancer Man said, but probably more because of what Scully has said. She's the voice of reason. She gives reason to even Cancer Man's kind of bollocks, basically. So yeah, I like it. I like that Mulder's listening. It's cool. It is that whole question. This is the question that the episode is really asking. When is it okay to go public, and when is it okay to not go public? Often it is of equal importance to do either. I mean, and I think as well when you look at what's the name of that guy who was he owned the WikiLeaks site. He made
Assange.
Yeah, that's that guy. They made a film about him with Benedict Cumberbatch, didn't they?
Assange. Julian Assange.
Yeah, Julian Assange. Yeah, so there's that whole question about what he did, isn't there? About where's the ethics of what he did? Is it in the public interest, or is it just interesting to the public? And if so, is it going to cause more problems than it creates? So, this episode was asking that question a long time before he came on the scene. So, yeah, good stuff. Okay, so Paul is already at the bus station with crowds of people all around him. And then we jump back to Scully, who's with Osborne. Osborne collapses, tells Scully people have a right to know, says that when should information be let out, when should be kept secret, which we just said. But he basically owns up. He confesses to Scully that they are Pink Pharmaceuticals. It is the company that's responsible. Unfortunately, she ain't going to get any of this on record because he's about to keel over and die. So he tells her, look, the only bit of evidence you've got, essentially, is the virus, which is about to be destroyed. You've got to do something. You've got to do something to get the truth out there. So Scully finishes testing herself, and shock horror, she doesn't have it. So okay, dodge that bullet. Mm-hmm. So when she goes to tell Osborne that she's all clear, his body has already been taken away. So fast movers, these people.
Ninjas, right?
Ninjas. So some woman, I should say, lets her kid onto a bus.
Does this feel strange? I mean, I hope this kid's not going to come into play later on. Why are we spending as much time with this kid?
Foreshadowing, isn't it? It just feels like an awful lot of foreshadowing. Why are we spending 2 minutes seeing this mum say goodbye to her kid? Have a good time.
It's all the subtlety of a sledgehammer.
Yeah. You can smell a hostage situation just around the corner.
Yep.
So Scully finds the douchebag doctor burning evidence. She tells him that she knows what they've done and that they're not with the CDC. He tells her to go away, and she has nothing but her word. At which point I'm like, surely she's still got her gun. She's an FBI agent. She's a federal agent. You're not taking a gun from her. They don't have that power. Surely the best thing to do right now would be to pull her gun, tell every one of those dudes to back up against the wall and call for someone. Call for the actual CDC, call for backup from the FBI, and if one of these guys makes a move on her, shoot them in the leg. Or just shoot them, for crying out loud. Because, they are disposing of evidence there which will clearly destroy a pharmaceutical company. They certainly destroy their reputation at any rate. So, that is her evidence, and she essentially just lets them do it. She doesn't put up enough of a fight for my liking there. If I was Scully, I would pull the gun and I would have these guys. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But Mulder gets to the bus station with the Marshals. Scully calls, tells him that unless he gets a statement from Paul, they've got nothing. Mm-hmm.
So they've got nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you already know what's going to happen to this guy, don't you? You just know it.
Yeah.
But Mulder gets on the bus, but somebody just gets a little bit trigger happy, shoots Paul from outside as hazmats arrive, which leads you to believe that, once again, because the hazmat team was already on scene, maybe, just maybe, somebody was paid off there to just shoot this guy. While they had the
Paul,
shot.
in his final moments, looked disgusting, Brian.
Oh, he does.
That big, massive pus. It's all close up in his mouth, and it's like thick, foamy saliva, and just it looked disgusting. It was a great job.
And the way that he's holding the kid close to it as well.
And this thing kind of like
pulsating. Oh man. I got to say, actually, as well, I do like this actor who plays Paul. He's a very good actor. So much so that they do bring him back. Not the character, obviously, but they bring the actor back for a two-parter way later on. I think it's fourth or fifth season. I think it's fourth.
Right.
I think it's fourth season. But he comes back as has a pretty big character arc in a two-parter, and I'm glad they do, because I think he's a really good actor. He's obviously from the Vancouver talent pool, one of their better ones. You know, you see a lot of the same actors pop up in American shows, all these ones that are shot in Vancouver. This guy's one of them, and I think he's one of the better ones that tends to pop up in things. So, okay. The dude gets shot, basically, and Mulder goes to Skinner, tells him the story, says that people have a right to know. Skinner says, drop it. Mulder wants to know whose side he's on. So, Skinner, just whose side are you on? It turns out that the inmate who received the parcel has the same name as the doctor who died in Guatemala, which is basically the pharmaceutical company's way out. It's there. So even if the evidence got found, even if that letter was made public, they have a simple case of the letter being sent to the wrong address, or to the wrong person, just as a clerical error, basically. So
yeah, we thought we were sending this to Costa Rica. We actually sent it to a secure prison.
Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah,
that's it. Skinner gives a threat as a friend. Watch your back. And it feels as if we went back in that relationship.
Yeah,
as it stands in this episode, it feels as if we went back a little bit.
Reverted a little bit, you mean?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I feel like Skinner is kind of between a rock and a hard place here, because the fact that Cancer Man is hanging out in his office does show that Skinner does in some way have to answer to this guy. So he can't just let Mulder off the leash to do whatever he wants. If he doesn't have the evidence, then what's he going to go public with? He can't go public with anything. Skinner is being a friend by saying, Mulder, you have to drop it. Because if you go public with this, all you're doing is ruining your career. And that's probably what these guys want. So drop it, let it go. The next one will come along. And with Skinner as well, it's like, and I think what he meant, but I can't remember the line. There was a line that he kind of dropped in with this that kind of, it was something like, I'm on the side of the line that you keep crossing, or something.
Yeah.
So what he's basically saying there is that, look, Mulder, I want to be on your side, but I'm an assistant director of the FBI. I have protocol I have to follow. And once it steps over that, once it steps outside that line, I can't help you. Simple as. You're on your own. So bring me something, If you can't bring me anything, then my hands are tied. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Episode's done.
That's it.
So, who wants to wrap up first, Brian?
Go on, I'll let you wrap up first on this one.
I kind of enjoy this episode, partially because of the pace. It doesn't really give you a chance to reflect on many things. I think there is some big holes in the stories, if you want them to be there. Otherwise you can just get caught up in the pacing and the energy and some of the disgusting special effects in this episode, which are pretty good. It's one of the rare episodes I've seen where they separate Mulder and Scully, but for a good reason.
Yeah.
And they both play to their strengths. It gives you a bad guy who is desperate and seems to have no worries about infecting other people, and he must be able to know what's happening, that happened in the prison, that's happening to him, happened to his friend. And I do leave this episode going, you know what, I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. One of the better ones, I preferred it to the Calasari.
Yeah.
I thought it was way better than that. I gave it 4 out of 5.
Yeah, me too. This is one that I do revisit. If I'm going through the seasons, but not watching every single episode, just watching the ones that kind of stand out for me, I do always check this one out because it's just a really zippy little thriller. That's the way I look at it. It's a chase thriller, it's a fugitive kind of thriller. And I like those kind of movies. You think about The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. It's like that kind of vibe to it, mixed with Outbreak. If you cross The Fugitive with Outbreak, it's a bit like that, except The Fugitive in this story is actually guilty, so not quite like that. But you do feel sorry for this guy, despite the fact that you've seen him kill someone and at least attempt to kill someone else. This isn't a nice chap. No. At the very least, he deserves to be back in prison. But because of what he's going through, because of the confusion at the end, and just because of how gnarly he looks, you can't help but feel sorry for him. And also because he's been used. He's been used by these pharmaceutical companies. And if there's one corporation in this world that is probably hated more than governments, it's pharmaceutical companies. I like it. Particularly, I think the strongest thing about it is the direction from Rob Bowman. I think if he hadn't have directed this, I think it could have very easily been mishandled and it probably wouldn't have been as enjoyable as it was. But yeah, it's the pacing. He keeps it moving, and for that, it does hide a lot of sins. It ain't perfect, but it's very entertaining. So yeah, me too. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about Soft Light.
I think you're really going to like this one. This is the first episode, actually, to be written by none other than Vince Gilligan, who wrote Breaking Bad. He made, I don't know if he made his start in X-Files, but he certainly became prolific in the X-Files. I think that certainly helped his career, helped him with the whole Breaking Bad gig. But he's written some of the best episodes throughout the series. Him and Darren Morgan are ones to watch. When their names pop up in writers' credits, then they're ones to watch. I don't know if I'd say Soft Light is one of his best, but it's certainly a good start for him in the show. So it's about, just quick brief is that it's about someone who's, well, actually I don't know if that's a spoiler. I can't remember at what point in the episode you learn it, so I'm going to leave it there. But it's a good one anyway. So.
Okay, excellent. I'm excited for that. So we'll see you next week for episode 23 of season 2, Soft Light. Thanks for listening.